Key point 1. Don't try to be somebody you're not. Be selective with what you care about. Most self-help books make us fixate on what we lack. They pinpoint things we see as our failures and shortcomings and emphasize them for us. If you are broke, you look for a way to earn more. If you think you're not attractive, you use affirmations to believe you are. Society keeps telling us to be more positive all the time. We are constantly getting the same message, to care about everything. Sadly, caring more doesn't guarantee you to be happy and live a better life. Living happily isn't about caring about everything. It's caring about the things that matter. As humans, we care too much about things that don't matter, and this does nothing but make us feel bad about ourselves. The author calls this the feedback loop from hell. Simply put, you get stuck with feelings that come out of nowhere and blame yourself for your emotions. The solution to the feedback loop from hell is simple. Don't give a fuck about your negative experiences, anxiety, anger, guilt, fear, etc. Because it's okay having these feelings. It's okay to be under the weather sometimes. Beating yourself up for having natural emotions will only make things worse. Maturity is about being able to only care about essential things. This is how you can be content consistently. With this summary, you will learn to be comfortable with being different, calm in the face of adversity, and highly selective with what you care about. Key point 2. Overcoming obstacles makes us happy. Our core values build upon the assumption that we can achieve happiness by following specific steps. This premise is a big problem because happiness isn't a solvable equation. However, happiness is an activity rather than a gift bestowed upon you. You cannot find it in a self-help book. We are enamored with the concept of happiness as a blessing. Once we get it, we're freed of all pain and suffering forever. But in reality, that's not attainable. Sadness, dissatisfaction, unease, etc. are part of inherent human nature and are necessary to create consistent happiness. Disappointment drives change. You cannot be better by being satisfied with every aspect of your life. Even physically, pain has the same function. Imagine how badly it hurts when you stub your toe. You might scream and swear at the table and at whoever thought to put it there. No matter how much you hate the feeling, it is helpful. Your body sends signals to teach you your limitations or which part of the body requires care. The same goes for human psychology. Emotional pain lets you know in which ways to improve your life. We cannot escape pain. In fact, we shouldn't. Life consists of problems that bring discomfort and hurt. Happiness requires struggle, and it comes from solving problems. Happiness is a constant work in progress. You can be happy once you discover the problems you're happy to have and solve. We always want to feel good and get only the good things in life. People never consider the pain they are okay with and what they are willing to struggle for. We want the rewards and the results. Nobody is willing to go through the process. Most of us don't want to struggle and to give it some effort. But the struggle is the key to happiness, and it grows from problems. On your journey toward happiness, you'll encounter many disappointments and shame. No matter where you go, many issues are waiting for you, and there is nothing wrong with that. The point isn't to run from the difficulties, it's to find the right ones. Key point 3. No one is exceptional in any way. Developing high self-esteem, feeling good and positive about oneself, came into fashion in the 1960s. At the time, psychological research proved that people with high self-esteem outperformed those with lower self-esteem. Suddenly, there were tons of motivational speakers everywhere telling people they could be exceptional and highly successful. A generation later, researchers have come to a simple conclusion based on years of data. We're not all exceptional. As it turns out, there is no point in feeling good about yourself if you have no reason to do so. Adversity and failure are helpful and essential for developing successful and strong-minded adults. People with high self-esteem usually feel great about themselves. They feel they're doing something exceptional even when they are not. Mark Manson. The major downside of the high self-esteem movement that has taken root in our society is that it requires us to always feel good. The movement uses a metric based on how positive people feel and think about themselves, whereas more accurate metrics would be how people feel, think, and accept their negative selves. To begin addressing your issues, you must realize that they aren't worse or more special than anyone else's. The high self-esteem movement is telling us to feel special all the time. Everyone says it. We hear it from TV, magazines, and social media. Mediocrity has become the new failure. Mediocrity scares most because people equate it with a lack of achievement. They think accepting their average means their lives are worthless. In reality, when you acknowledge that your life is mundane, you are free to pursue what you want without the pressure of unrealistic expectations. People who become exceptional at something think they're mediocre and put in the work to improve. Assuming you're exceptional from the start won't get you anywhere. So instead of seeing mediocrity as a bad thing, be grateful and appreciate the small things in life. Most of your life will be boring, and that's perfectly okay. Key point 4. Don't build your life around useless causes. Focus only on important values. As humans, we tend to spend our precious time on useless causes. Sometimes we know deep down that we're going to suffer because of what we're doing, but we do it anyway. This is because suffering means something to us, so we can endure and perhaps enjoy it. Whether you like it or not, suffering is an inevitable part of life. Of course, you could try to avoid it, but one sure fact is that running from negative things will always backfire. So, instead of hiding from issues, accept and face them. Instead of asking questions like, how do I stop suffering? Ask yourself this: why am I suffering? For what purpose? However, this isn't an easy question to answer. According to Manson, to understand ourselves, we must first understand a metaphor called the self-awareness onion. Self-awareness is like an onion. It has layers, and you will inevitably cry while getting to the center. The first layer is acknowledging and naming your feelings. How do I feel? What is this emotion? I'm sad. I feel happy right now. I'm sad when I see that, etc. This process is simple for some people, but quite hard for others. Sometimes you try to deny your feelings. The second layer is getting to the root cause of those feelings. Why do I feel like this? Why am I sad? Why am I depressed? The third layer is when your values come in. Ask yourself, am I looking at this as a failure or not? Am I judging myself? What standard am I expecting myself and others to live up to? This level is challenging as it requires scrutinizing your thoughts and a lot of effort. At the same time, it is crucial because our values define our problems, which in turn determine our well-being. Shifting your values and definition of failure and success will change your view on many issues. Did you know denying negativity leads to perpetuating problems instead of solving them? It is okay to be optimistic only sometimes. Negative emotions are a vital element of emotional health. Key point 5. Become responsible for your life and invite progress by embracing uncertainty. There is a simple realization that all personal improvement and growth stem from. We are accountable for whatever happens in our lives despite the conditions. We can only improve ourselves if we realize that we are responsible for everything in our lives, no matter the circumstances. It doesn't matter whose fault it is. It's always your responsibility because you can decide what you make of the circumstances. Of course, someone else might be responsible for your situation, but this isn't the same as thinking it's their fault. No one else is ever liable for your life but you. People may be the reason for your unhappiness, but you have control over your suffering. You can change your values and how you view your circumstances and react to them. It's up to you to adopt a new standard for success and use it to reevaluate your experiences. Often, the only difference between a problem being painful or being powerful is a sense that we chose it and that we are responsible for it. Manson. Also, Embrace doubt and uncertainty because certainty can never lead to progress. Certainty might feel comforting, but you need to chase doubt instead. Question your values, beliefs, and feelings. Remember that you can only be sure about your future if you take action to shape it yourself. Stop proving that you're always right. Instead, reflect on why you're wrong. Uncertainty pushes us toward progress. People who believe they know everything never learn anything. The first step to learning is acknowledging we do not know something. Accepting our lack of knowledge gives us space for opportunities to improve and grow. Embracing uncertainty is a vital step toward assessing our prioritizations and values. Because changing our values requires putting them under scrutiny first. Asking yourself questions like, what if I'm wrong? What would it mean to be wrong? Would being wrong make my current problem better or worse for myself and others? Will help you be a little less sure of yourself. Key point 6, the success paradox. Failure is the way forward. Success is proportional to the number of times you failed, and improvement comes from a series of tiny setbacks. There is a popular saying that talent is overrated. Yes, it's overrated. Success is less about your preconditions and more about the work you put into something. We can only succeed when we're ready to fail so that we can learn and grow. When learning to walk, a child will fall and hurt themselves hundreds of times. But the child will never give up or stop trying. Failure and discomfort are a part of the process. You will have to fail many times if you want to succeed at something. As we grow older, we develop an avoidance of failure and instead stick to what we know we're good at. This concerns our education system, overbearing and critical parents, and mass media. Avoidance of failure creates avoidance of the vital actions to succeed at things. Mark Manson suggests setting process-oriented goals and taking action with his do something principle. In high school, his teacher told him it was no use mulling over an issue for long. You have to get up and act. Once you start, ideas will come to you. By applying this advice, Mark Manson discovered that motivation often comes from action, not necessarily the other way around. It also has something to do with inspiration. Your actions generate further emotional reactions and motivations to move on to inspire your future behavior. So, if you ever need more motivation, start with small actions. Anything works fine. And try to observe the results of your actions. You can then reap the fruit of those actions to motivate yourself. Did you know? A study by Polish psychologist Kazimierz Dabrowski in the 50s showed that World War II survivors felt that the war made them psychologically stronger. They reported being more responsible and appreciative of their loved ones. Point 7. Reject things that don't add value to your life and contemplate your mortality. Rejection is an essential life skill. It improves your life because it lets you focus on things that matter and let go of things that don't. If we don't reject something, we stand for nothing. When you commit to something, you're essentially saying no to something else. Saying no doesn't tie you down. It frees you from paltriness so you can focus on what's most significant. To build healthy relationships, both parties must be able to say no to trivialities. They should make time to sort out their differences, establish their boundaries, and take responsibility for their problems. Only then can genuine trust and acceptance be established. Also, we must contemplate our mortality from time to live life to the fullest, happy and fulfilled. People are rarely eager to think or talk about dying. Some are afraid to even acknowledge it. However strange it sounds, death gives our life meaning. If we were immortal, nothing would matter. Our values and experiences would be meaningless. Mark Manson recalls the loss of his friend in college. At first, he was depressed for months. Everything felt meaningless. However, he thought if there's no point in doing anything, there's no reason not to as well. That moment ended up being transformational. He quit smoking, changed schools, and started exercising. Reflecting deeply on death from time to time helps us to put our problems into context and to appreciate life. If you fear death or are busy making sure that people remember you after you're gone, you won't be able to live fully. Ernest Becker received a Pulitzer Prize for his book, The Denial of Death, where he suggested a term death terror, which is the anxiety present in all our actions and thoughts. It comes from the realization of mortality and shifts our perception of life. Once you've confronted your mortality, you can accept your life as a passing grain in the universe's timelessness. Then, you can focus on a cause that will outlive you. Accept mortality, and you'll finally make the most of each day and be happy. Conclusion. The trending mantra in our society is always to be positive no matter the circumstances. This constant chant of positivity unwittingly teaches us to care about everything all the time. Sadly, caring more doesn't guarantee you'll be happier and live a better life. If you want to live a healthier and more content life, you have to start caring about only what is truly important and nothing else. We care too much about things that don't matter, and this does nothing but make us feel bad about ourselves. We feel a certain emotion for some reason or no obvious reason, and having this emotion makes us feel even worse. The key to getting out of this loop is to stop caring about our negative emotions, like anxiety, anger, guilt, fear, etc. It's okay to have these feelings. It's normal to feel bad sometimes. Beating yourself up for having certain emotions will do you no good. In essence, maturity is about paying attention to only essential things. This simplification brings us genuine happiness. We try to do too much in life, which results in stress and grief. We all need to learn to stop caring about the things that are causing us pain. Choose to focus on what you want to care about and develop a more constructive approach to work, love, and life. Try this. Start saying no to things that don't add value to your life. If you want to focus your time and energy on the things that matter to you, it is essential to say no to everything else. It is more important to miss out on trivial things than important ones. So make it a goal to only focus on the essentials and ignore everything else. Be ruthless with this.